let me ask you this question. Why do we have different unit lengths to describe, or different units for length to describe the same thing? What do you think? Go ahead.
Why do we have different units?
Yeah. All right, to measure different things. So if you are measuring, if you're going to measure the distance from here to, say, Foxborough, Massachusetts, you're not going to use inches, you're going to use miles, yeah? Yeah, so for this you're going to use miles. If somebody were to tell you, oh, it's 9.9 million inches, you'd be like, I don't know what that means. I don't really understand that. But if they were to tell you 830,000 feet, that still wouldn't be very helpful. 157 miles. Ah, okay, that I can understand. That'll probably take about 2.5, 3 hours to get there. By the way, my desk is 0.000947 miles long. Meaningful? No, not meaningful. So we're going to pick units that are appropriate to the thing that we're measuring. So here are English units. How many inches in a foot? Shout it out. 12. How many feet in a mile? 5,280 feet. Yeah, come on, you should all know that. How many feet in a yard? How many yards in a mile? Oh, what? 1,760. I walked 126,000 inches. How many miles is that? I don't know. It's like 2 miles. Okay. English units are a mess. They are all historically based, and they don't make a lot of sense when you go from one unit to another. Like 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Where does that come from? I don't know. There's some historical reason why that's an important number, but it's not easy to convert from one to the other. So a while ago, and I want to say a couple hundred years ago, they came up with the metric system, which is all base 10. So if you want to go from one useful measurement into a different useful measurement, all you had to do was move the decimal point. It is a brilliant system that is so much easier to use. So for instance, 100 centimeters in 1 meter, 1,000 meters in a kilometer, 2,000 milliseconds in a second. The only thing that separates the measurements is the position of the decimal point. So how exactly do we move the decimal point in the metric system? Well, first you got to know the SI prefixes. So you have kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli. I'll be honest with you right up front. We never use hecto, we never use deca, we never use deci. Kilo is used all the time, centi is used all the time, and milli is used quite frequently. The others are just a placeholder. So these prefixes tell you how much to move the decimal point. So instead of saying, for instance, 10 meters, you could say 1 decameter. And that deca represents the value 10. Or instead of 1 meter, or I'm sorry, instead of saying 0.1 meter, you could say 1 decimeter. And that deci represents a value of 0.1. So these prefixes represent these factors. So if I were to say 1 kilometer, what would that actually be in meters? It would actually be 1,000 meters. So here's an anagram to help you remember the order of the prefixes. King Hector doesn't usually drink cold milk. Where that U, that usually, stands for unity, which means 1, which is no prefix. So how does this help you? You are going to, when you are converting between any one of these prefixes, say you're going from unity to kilo, you're going to move the decimal point that many spots in that direction. So in other words, change 10 centimeters into millimeters. I'm going from centi to milli. So I'm going to move the decimal point 1 spot to the right. So 10 centimeters becomes 100 millimeters. Anytime you need to, you can pause the video. We'll move on to the next example here. What if we're going to go from centimeters into meters? I have 1,000 centimeters. So what prefix am I starting with? What letter? C. I'm going to go from C into meters. There's no prefix here, so I'm going to the unity. So I'm going to move the decimal point 2 spots to the left. 1, 2. Just like I moved from C to D to the U. So that 1,000 centimeters becomes 10 meters. Another one. 1,240 grams into kilograms. Pause the video, see if you can do this one on your own. So I'm going from unity to kilo. So from unity to kilo, it's 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. So I'm going to move that decimal point 1, 2, 3 spots to the left to give me a 1.24 kilograms. And that's that. All right, so pause the video, try these out. Once you've gotten them, unpause the video and see how you did. All right, so here are the answers. Let's see how you did. 210 centimeters to meters. You're going from C to U. So you move the decimal point 2 spots. For the kilograms to grams, you're going from K to U. So you're going to move the decimal point 3 spots to the right. For kilometers to meters, you're going from K to U. So 3 spots to the right. And this is meters, so that's represents the unity. So from meters, or from unity to K, it's 3 spots to the left. 1, 2, 3. 92 milliseconds becomes 0.092 seconds, and 78 hectometers becomes 7.8 kilometers. All right, so here are the prefixes from tera all the way down to nano. Now here's the crazy thing. We live in a world where these prefixes are all used. We live in a world where in your everyday life you encounter terabytes. A terabyte hard drive you can purchase in the store now. What is a terabyte hard drive? It's 1,000 gigabytes. What's a gigabyte? It's 1,000 megabytes. What's a megabyte? 1,000 kilos. Notice that from tera down to kilo, that these are not going by, you're not moving the decimal point 1 spot, you're moving it 3. So you're moving it down by 3, down by 3. And then once you get from hecto all the way down to milli, you're moving the decimal point by 1. But then from milli to micro, you're moving it by 3 again. So if you're moving the decimal point 3 spots in the same direction as the prefix, it's a factor of 1,000 times if you move that decimal point 3 spots. So here's the order of the prefixes, but instead of moving the decimal point 1 spot to get from one to the next, you're moving it 3 spots. So that's the tera, giga, mega, kilo, unity, milli, micro, and nano. All right, so we have, let's do some examples with this. We're going from moving the decimal point 3 spots. What if we want to change 156,000 micrograms into kilograms? Bring up your series of letters here. You're going from micro, which, by the way, this is the symbol for micro. It's a Greek letter mu. So you're going to go from micro to kilo. So you're going to 1, 2, 3 spots. But remember, each movement represents the decimal point moving how many times? 3. So I've got to move the decimal point 3, 6, 9 times in that direction. 9 times to the left. So the decimal point starting here gets moved 9 times to the left. So it becomes 0.000157 kilograms. This is not a conversion that's going to happen very often. Let's do another one. This is one that you might see in your everyday life. Change 0.21 terabytes into gigabytes. So going from tera to giga, you're moving the decimal point 3 times to the right. So 1, 2, 3 gives you 210 gigabytes. All right, we can try these ones out. And the solutions for these, we have 1 kilometer, 5 megagrams, 34.7 megameters, 4.5 gigahertz, and 10 to the 12 bulls. 10 to the 12 is tera, so that would be a terabole. Boom. And 10 to the negative 12 is Pika, so that becomes Pikachu. Those are for fun. All right, and that's that. Thanks for listening.